and Angular, all these things will be covered. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, Sangeeta.
So it's unexpected operating system updates. I didn't expect it. I was worried whether I will lose all my diagrams. But luckily, I got it.
Okay, nice.
Guys, are you with me? Shall we continue with
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
One
ma'am.
last step for insertion. That's it. I'll not take much time of you, and then we'll have a program. So let's assume the next one. I want to insert who else? Joel. Same steps I'm doing. This is my first step. My first step is allocate a memory. I'm just allocating 2025 memory and I'm storing the data Joel, and my list is not empty. So whatever the new node I have created, with that new node I want to connect with rear. So it will be 2051, and after connecting I want to make my rear pointing to the currently created node. You can implement queue by array and linked list. A queue array will go for continuous memory location. No need to worry on this dynamic memory and this linked list. When you are going for dynamic memory allocation with linked list, you have to concern about connecting between one node to another node. Here also we will call with node only, because we will not have data alone. We will have data followed with memory address. So always allocate memory for new node. So as soon as you allocate a memory, assign value to the data field of new node. So next field of new node will be pointing to null. If the queue is empty, both your front node and rear will be pointing to the new node. If it is not empty, the next field of new node will be pointing to rear, and you are going to make the new node which you have created as a rear node. Whatever we discussed in algorithm, the same I have implemented in my Paint app. Take time, analyze. If there is any query, go ahead. If it is clear, we will continue with for deletion operation. I don't want to change or relocate front pointer or front node when I am doing an insertion. When the list is empty, make your front and rear as the first new node. Else, you don't need to do any changes with your front node. Only in your if case, when this empty, make front and rear as new node. Other than that, you don't need to touch on your front node at all. We'll continue on deletion operation. So can I delete Vivek or Shubham?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You cannot delete. First in, first out. So who is the one who we have inserted first? Harsh. So if I say delete one. In stack, we call with the technical name push and pop. So push is insertion and pop is removal. Whereas here we will call with the name NQ and DQ. NQ adding an item, DQ removing an item. So let's say this is my actual data in my queue. So if I go for deletion, automatically my Q will delete Harsh. So when I'm doing deletion, what is an algorithm? Give a try. What we need to do? Algorithm for deletion. Anything we want to do with rear here?
We need to move the front.
Yeah, that's all. I think like morning, I made a small memory allocation change over here. So when I am in deletion, always I need to consider on front. So front is equal to front dot next. I think I need to swap. Guys, listen. So I don't want to do anything with my rear when you are in deletion process. When always you need to work on your front node until it reaches to null. So I want to delete Harsh. When I want to delete Harsh, my front is pointing to Harsh. So Harsh of next, I should have connection between Harsh and Shubham, not Shubham to Harsh. So front will be front of next. One small change. Again, I missed like morning. Come along with me. No change in the first insertion of empty list. But when you are inserting Shubham, second data, we need to do a small change. Sorry, here it is not 2005. Instead, front is having a connection with rear nodes. Sorry guys, small change. The newly inserted node will be pointing with null, and already inserted node we will be connecting over here. So Harsh will be connected with 2088. So let me modify an algorithm. Oh my God, I don't know. Every time when I'm doing a delete, it got strikes in my mind. So when you are establishing a relationship, so please establish between Shubham to Harsh, not Harsh to Shubham. Always when you are creating a new node, guys, listen. New node next will be always
Null.
Yeah. So always when I am creating new node, I'll do a change in front of you. So whenever if you are creating a new node next will be pointing to null. Sorry. Always, if you are creating Vivek next will be null. Shubham next will be null as usual. Harsh next will be null. Whereas Shubham's next will be connecting to Vivek's memory, and Harsh is having connection with 2088. I think now it makes sense. So one small change when you are establishing a relationship, small change, always make the current node which you have created to point null. So I have created Joel. So Joel's next node will be null. Already I have rear. So rear's node will be pointed with. I'll start from here. So Harsh will have 2088, which is Shubham. Shubham will be having 2051. And Vivek will be having, guys, what is the next address of Vivek? 2025. So I want to do one more additional step in my algorithm. So after fourth step, let's assume 4.A. So 4.A step is, you can guess. Earlier, Harsh was my rear node. So rear dot next will be Take time, analyze. Yeah, I'm done. So this is a final diagram, but before this, before all the 5 steps, the diagram was both front and rear is pointing to Harsh. Step 1, 2088 memory has been allocated. I am in my second block, guys. Please listen here. So memory has been created, value has been assigned. It's not empty, so we are going to else block. So else block, whichever the new node you are creating, make its next pointing to null. So if you create Shubham as new node, make its next as null. If you create Vivek, next is null. If you create Joel, Joel next is null. So before 5th step, my rear will be pointing with Harsh. So Harsh next will be the new node. So Harsh will be holding the memory address next node as address of new node. So now I made all the changes in the diagram. Oh my God, always I'm doing the vice versa. It's simple. Before Shubham becomes rear was pointing to Harsh. Harsh next node will be address of new node which we created. Is that clear? In such situation, when I want to delete Harsh, I'll be making simply front is equal to front of next. So front will be pointing out from Harsh to Shubham. Again, when you do deletion again from Shubham to Vivek. So Vivek to Joel. At last, everything will be null. This diagram, we got this diagram only after all the 5 steps in algorithm. So 4th step, we are making Joel node as null. Let's assume the last case. And what would be the rear? Vivek was rear. Rear of next will be the new node which we have created. Then you make new node as rear node. So if you want to go for deletion, always make front as front.next. So if you want to delete, so your front will be next. So from Harsh, it will go to Shubham. From Shubham, it will go to Vivek. From there, it will go to Joel. At last, it will come back to an empty array, empty queue. Is that clear? Fine. I'm sharing the diagram and I'm sharing an algorithm. Please work on this algorithm and try to understand this working nature. And I'm giving you a evening break. So have 5-10 minutes break. And